Okay, Kelly. So good morning. Saw your email this morning. As I said, we're not allowed to go on the weekend or work on the weekend, but I did see it and I wanted to have this video ready for you. I saw you sent 4 problems. I'm gonna do two. The first two, because I see those two may pose the hardest. Really, what I ask the students to do is to send me what they have done so I could see where they would have gone wrong. But I see that you said that you're having a problem with synthetic division. So, what I'm going to do is actually send you these first two because I see these two are the most complex. The other two, if I can ask you to send me what you've attempted, and then we can work through from there. I'm also going to send you a third video from this math teacher that I see is on YouTube. I find he's really good. He really breaks it down really well. I'm going to send you an example of what he did. So let's look at the first problem. I've already worked it out, but what I will do, what I'll do is I'll go through it with you step by step. So I'm not very good at holding the camera. That's why I had to work it out before I did the camera. All right. So we want to factor f of x, which will give us 4x cubed plus minus 5 minus 4i, close brackets, which is the coefficient of x squared. And then minus 7 minus 3i x, which is the coefficient of x, and the constant, which is 2 plus I. So they told us that 2 plus I is a 0. So that could be interpreted as 2 plus I is equal to x. Usually when we have a complex conjugate like that, we can also tell that 2 minus I is also a 0. But sometimes that's not, it's usually the case, but I found for this one that that wasn't the case, and I'll show you why. So the synthetic division looks something like this. So we have the 0 on the outside, 2 plus I. And what we do is we take all the coefficients. So the 4, put it there. Coefficient of x squared is minus 5 minus 4x, minus 4i, sorry. The coefficient of x is minus 7 minus 3i. And the constant is 2 plus I. So now we're going to start the synthetic division. So the first one is 4. We bring that down. And then we say 4 multiplied by 2 plus I. So 4 2s are 8. And 4 by I gives us plus 4i. When we subtract like terms. So minus 5 plus 3. Did I get it right? Yes. So it's minus 5 plus 8. Oh, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing. We are adding. So minus 5 plus 8 will give us 3. And then when we add these two, of course, they cancel out each other. So that's why we got 3. And the second term we saw here, same thing. So then we say 3 multiplied by 2 plus I, which gives us 6 plus 3i. Then we do the same thing. We add, we get minus 1. As you see there, negative 7 plus 6 is equal to negative 1. And these two cancel each other. Then we multiply the negative 1 by the 2 plus I. And that's how we get minus 2 minus I. And then we do the same thing. We add, they cancel out each other. When we are forming the equation now, because we had cube, we go one step down to square. So the answer will always be one exponent lower than the one that was initially given. So now the equation formed is 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. What we can do now is to find all the other zeros. What is recommended is that we factor this because we've brought it down to a stage where it can easily be factored. So when I'm factoring 4x squared plus 3x minus 1, usually we are accustomed with the coefficient of x being 1. So we just look at the last term and we look for factors of negative 1. But when the coefficient is not 1, we multiply whatever that coefficient is. In this case, it's 4 by minus 1. And so we're looking for factors of minus 4. You see that? And the factors of minus 4 should give us a plus 3, which is the coefficient of x. So that's how we use factorization. So I wrote down a few factors. The first one would not, if I add the 2, would not give me 3. The second one, if I add the 2, will not give me 3. But the third one, which is a factor, so 4 is a factor of minus 1, minus 4, and minus 1 is a factor of minus 4. When I add those two together, I get a positive 3. So I know right away that these are the two numbers that I'm going to use. And I broke it down simple here. So I wrote it over in expanded form. So it's 4x squared plus 4x minus 1. Then we do our factorization and we end up with 4x minus 1 and x plus 1. So these are other zeros. X plus 1 is a 0, 4x minus 1 is a 0, 2 plus I is a 0. So these are our zeros. And how the answer is written, they wanted you to put it all together. So I did that here for you. I outlined the zeros and I showed you how x, as I did in the beginning here, where 2 plus I equal x, or you can write it vice versa. You're looking here and it's like x is equal to 4x, and we put the different zeros, or it could be written like this, where x, when you bring it all over on one side, so it's x minus 4x minus 1, x plus 1, 2 plus I, according to how they want it written in my math lab. And I put a note here that usually the complex conjugate of 2 plus I is a factor, but it wasn't so in this case. So I hope this one helps you. It's the eyes tend to make it seem as if it's complicated, but it's not really complicated. It's just two things to remember with the eyes. One, that I multiplied by I gives you negative 1. So if you have I squared, that's equal to negative 1. So keep that in mind. And what I like to do is I like to write down these little notes at the side so that I remember when I'm factoring, like this one here, what I did, I write it out. Or like I want to make sure I know the rules. So like if they give me a 0 of 2 plus I write it like this so I know it could also be written like x equal to 2 plus I, something like that. All right, so keep these little notes when you're doing your syntactic division. So this is my first video. I have one more to send for you, and then I'm going to send you the examples of the others. All righty.